Hi guys! Before I proceed, please like this video, turn on your notifications to receive updates whenever I make a post. Thank you! So, a group of 35 lawmakers known as the Reformers from the Nigerian National Assembly have proposed significant changes to the 1999 Constitution. Well, the proposed alterations include a 6-year single tenure for the president and governors, creation of 2 vice presidents from the southern and northern regions, and rotation of the presidency among the 6 geopolitical zones. Wahala dey. If you have money to japa, please do, because I don't think this country is going to get better anytime soon. If this government doesn't finish us finally, they are not here to go, like they are here to stay. They are proposing 6 years. I came across some videos which I'm going to play for you. Just listen to what these people are saying. They are really making sense.
To be a lawmaker in Nigeria, by the way, all you need is secondary school certificate. Yet, your basic salary is 2.5 million naira per month. Furniture allowance is 7.4 million per month. Who changes furniture every month? Newspaper allowance. Nobody is reading newspaper, by the way, but they still get 1.2 million naira per month to buy newspaper. And then they have wardrobe allowance, 621,000 every month. Recess allowance is 248,000 every month. This is different from leave allowance. What does that even mean? Another 248,000 per month. On top of that, they have accommodation allowance, 4.9 million every month. Is any one of them paying rent, sending me rent? Yet they are getting 4.9 million for accommodation every month. They have utilities allowance, 828,000 every month. Entertainment, 828,000 every month. And we are also paying for their personal assistant to 621,000 every month. And then they get vehicle maintenance allowance, 1.8 million. By the way, they also get 9.9 million every month to buy new vehicle. If they are buying new vehicles every month, should we also be paying another 1.1 million to maintain their vehicle? New vehicle, by the way, they are also getting severance gratuity, 1.8 million. And as if they have not insulted our intelligence enough, these lawmakers are also getting hardship allowance, 1.2 million naira every month. What hardship? What hardship are they facing? Now, despite all that ridiculous amount, all that ridiculous allowances, the money that they are given, which they are supposed to use to develop their constituencies, they are also pocketing. Many of them are also pocketing it. This year, by the way, they increased their constituency allowance. The senators increased their own from 200 million naira a year to, some of them are now getting 400 million, some are getting 500 million. They call them senior senators. And many of them are still pocketing this money that is meant for the development of their constituencies. So as if their own personal allowances are not enough. How can you not see that this is evil? Nigerians, by the way, you need to stop praying against those old women in your village, because these government officials are the real witches and wizards. And we've not talked about all the allowances that the ministers are getting, the governors are getting, the president, the vice president. We just found out that the president, the vice president, and the first lady have spent 8.6 billion, not million, billion naira just on traveling, local and foreign travels between January and March of this year. Alhaji Tinubu, is this what you had in mind when you said Emilio come? Also, we found out that 30 governors in Nigeria have spent 968 billion, again not million, billion, on refreshments in the first quarter of this year alone. The people that put them in office are getting paid 30,000 naira a month. And they're okay with that. Oh yeah, where is my slipper? Don't beg me, because some of these officials, they need to, they need to be caned. By the way, Labour Union was asking for 494,000 as the new minimum wage per month. Tinubu said that they cannot afford it, that is too much. So now they are hoping that the president would approve at least 100,000 naira. Let us keep our fingers crossed. In the meantime, they have suspended the strike for 5 days until they reach an agreement with the government. My people, I don't think that Nigeria will get better until we drastically cut down the salaries and all these allowances of government officials. Let me know what you guys think, because obviously most of them are not going there to serve. They're going there for the money. Very, very sad. Now, having said that, and despite the fact that I am in support of Labour, going on strike to fight for their rights, there are some people that should never go on strike. Then, starting with medical practitioners. I mean, some nurses, some lab technicians went on strike when people needed medical care. That is wickedness. We're talking about life and death issue. There were so many pregnant women in labor and they had to be looking for private hospitals while having contractions. Can you imagine? Accident victims, their loved ones were looking for private hospitals. They can't take them to general hospital. That is not right. We need to ensure that our hospitals are always in operation. These politicians that you are fighting, they don't go to general hospitals for treatment. They go abroad for treatment. So this is only affecting the common people when hospitals are not working. Also, airport officials should never go on strike. Can you imagine that a lot of people missed their flights because of this? Politicians have private jets, by the way. It doesn't affect them that airport officials went on strike. All local flights were grounded. A lot of people were screwed up. Even international flights were cancelled. Who is going to refund all these people's tickets? It's not fair. It's not fair. Let's not punish regular people for what the government is doing. Don't you see that the media never shuts down? It's not that we don't want better pay, but how would you know what's going on if you turn on your TV and there's no news? How would you even know if the government has agreed to a new minimum wage? So the media has to stay on. It doesn't matter whether it's Christmas Day or New Year or any holiday, the media must always be open. And it should be the same with our healthcare providers and the airport workers. But I was happy to hear that they cut off the water supply for lawmakers. They didn't have water because of the strike. So that one made me happy.
I have been sick of this problem. I have been sick of this controversy over living wage or minimum wage. And I believe that something is seriously wrong with the heads of many of our leaders. How can anyone who earns 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, not to talk of people who earn 1 million, 2 million, how can they go to sleep in good conscience every day? How can they go to sleep in good conscience and come out to sit down in a boardroom to discuss the sustainability or otherwise of paying 60,000 to the poorest of workers? How can we go to bed and sleep, all those who belong to the elite, who earn 2, 3, 4, 500,000, 1 million? How can you go to sleep in good conscience, I say, if you still have any conscience? How can you go to sleep in good conscience and come out to be debating? I hear people on TV, I watch people on TV, experts, economic experts, corporate executives, government officials, who are taking home more than $1 million in a month. And they are there arguing that 60,000 or over will destroy the economy, is not sustainable. How wicked! You give 60,000 to a poor worker, a poor worker who may have a family of 2 or 3 or 4, for his feeding, for his accommodation, for his house rent, for his medical care, for his children's school fees. How wicked! How blind! How can we do that? And we think that God will bless our country. We think that it is by bringing a new national anthem for God to bless our country. How can you commit this crime against humanity? For me, this is a crime against humanity. Because the poor people who cannot afford to buy gari, I'm not saying they will buy that they are to buy sardine. I'm saying buy gari. Poor people who cannot buy gari. I'm not talking of meat or fish. Poor people are dying because they have no money to cure malaria. How can you go to sleep in good conscience? Those of us who belong to the elite, how can we go to sleep with good conscience and we are debating and we are discussing and we vote 500 million naira to meet and debate about paying 60,000 to the poor? My dear friends, I see this as a new form of apartheid. Nigeria is one of the most unequal societies in the entire world. A society where it's like the animal farm. A society where we have conspicuously rich people people who are living in conspicuous consumption, and others who are in deplorable, dehumanizing poverty. If you have somebody in this country that takes home 1 million naira, I mean 1 million, I'm not talking of 30 million naira, 1 million naira in the month, and he can open his mouth to be part of a discussion about the poor getting 60,000 naira. I say anyone who earns up to 1 million naira in the month should keep his or her mouth shut when he hears them debating about taking 60,000 for the poor. More than 60 years after independence, we are running an apartheid society. This time it's not racial apartheid, it's economic apartheid. We are running an apartheid society of people of conspicuous consumption, flying in private jets around at government expense, people who are riding 4, 5, 6, 7 SUVs with pilot vehicles, chasing the poor out of the road, and poor people, you are debating, you are discussing, you are over 60,000 for the poor. You insult the poor by saying 30,000, and later you say 48,000, and now you say 60,000, and so you pay more than 60,000, you come out with 62,000. You insult poor Nigerians. I say there is hardly any society I know that is as divided as the Nigerian society. And a society that is so divided is just sitting on a keg of gunpowder. I have warned here before that the revenge of the poor is at the corner. The revenge of the poor is at the corner. I am not calling for it, but it will happen as night follows the day. Because when you so reduce people, you reduce people to this dehumanizing level. Nature does not allow a situation of islands of affluence amidst a sea of poverty. Nature does not allow it. And let me warn those in the elite. Let me warn those in the tripartite committee of government. Let me warn that it is in the course of nature that when a predator continues to devour the very resources that the predator needs for his own sustenance, nature will take out the predator in order to have equilibrium, in order to have a measure of equilibrium. Nature is about balance, you know. All of nature is about balance, and human beings are part of nature, and Nigerians are part of nature. If the predator who needs the animals in the kingdom, it needs the animals to survive, if it is recklessly devouring the very animals it needs for its own survival, if it is devouring it recklessly and senselessly, nature will step in and remove the predator so that there can be balance in the system, in the ecosystem. Let me warn that all those who are in government, I hear, I have not confirmed, that there are people taking home almost 30 million naira in the month. And you have the guts and you have the temerity to sit down, and your conscience allows you to sit down to discuss about 60,000 naira for poor worker for the whole month, and you are the one that has all the opportunities of ex-Esther code and all kinds of perquisites of office. You sit down to discuss about 60,000, and that is all that the person will have in the month. You sit down to discuss this and come out and say this is not sustainable. How is 30 million naira sustainable in that economy? How is it sustainable that the leader has 100 SUVs going with him to the airport? How is it sustainable? How is it sustainable that government leaders junket around the world? How is that sustainable? I say we are committing a crime against humanity. And if we do not repent and retrace our steps immediately, the revenge of the poor is at the corner. Do not hold me responsible, because while the devastation was on, I did not keep quiet. Do not hold me responsible, because while the madness was on, I did not sit on the fence. I kept on shouting that the revenge of the poor is at the corner unless we change our course. And if we do not change our course, we will end up where we are headed. And where we are headed is devastation, is destruction, is violent revolution. I rest my case.